And so on this weekend where we remember Dr. Martin Luther King, we're confronted with this really singular and specific and important question. It's a question that every generation throughout human history has had to answer in one form or another. And this question is, when you see another human being, when you look at them, truly look, what do you see? This question has been answered so many different ways. Some have answered it with kindness and love and an invitation and connection and warmth. Others have answered this same question in ways that incite anger and provoke division and bring about disunity and create a class of the marginalized and the castaways. And so this question for this man, Dr. King, was so important. When you see another human being, what do you see? And today, that same question remains. It is so significant, so important. What would be easiest is if we were just to avoid the question altogether. But what's necessary is that we don't avoid this question, this all too important question. See, for me in my life, I've been seen so many different ways. I asked my mom when she first saw me when I was born, what'd she see, what'd she think? She said, I just fell in love, John. For my dad, he said, basically, I couldn't see because I was just crying a bunch. I had the sweetest kindergarten teacher, Miss Cancel, and she saw me as a daydreamer and worlds of potential. And then suddenly I'm in the second grade and I meet my very first best friend, Grant Barnby. He's white, I'm black and Hispanic, but all we see is a really, really good friend who just wanted to catch grasshoppers and ride bikes and play sports and just enjoy life. Years pass and now I'm 10 years old and my family and I were on a trip and we're going into a store and I'm being coached up for some reason to, hey, while we're in here, keep your hands out of your pockets, take your hood off, center aisle. Don't touch anything unless we're actually gonna grab it because right now people are watching us in a specific way. And in that moment, something unsettling was brewing in me. I didn't know what it was, I couldn't process it, but I was different and different for a reason that seemed unfair. Years passed, and now I'm in high school and on the football team and just enjoying playing football. And I'm a running back, and as I'm being tackled by the opposing team, they're also piling on heaps of racial slurs that I won't repeat. A few years later, now I'm in college, and I'm handing in a paper I worked really hard on to my professor. And the next day, she calls me into her office and says, hey, John, I just need to ask you this question. The language in this is too sophisticated. Did you write this? Tell me the truth. Did you write this? Tell me the truth. She repeated. And with every yes, I wrote this, I felt smaller and smaller. Yes, these are my words. Years pass, and now I'm a husband and a father of an amazing family. We're a multiracial family, a family of 6. And my wife and I were taking the kids out to a restaurant to eat. And there's a man who's walking by us with his friend with this very distinct look of disgust. And as he walks by, he mutters, wow, only in California. Right in front of my wife, in earshot of my beautiful children. So I've been seen so many different ways. Some ways have been really kind and loving and generous and, again, inviting, and other ways have felt so confusing, perplexing, maddening, hurtful. But I don't personally pretend to stand up here as if I can claim some moral high ground, because you know what? I've done it too. I've looked at others in the same way, other human beings who've been made in the image of God the same way, in ways that marginalize and label and categorize in hurtful ways. That's in my heart too. And that's what he understood. That's what he saw was wrong with us. That when we see people, how do we see them? He spent his life learning what it meant to see well. He said, everything that we see is just a shadow cast by that which we do not see. And he arrived at that place because he looked intently, deeply into the life of Jesus. Jesus, who when he looked on the crowds, he felt one thing. When he looked on the crowds, he was filled with compassion because they were weary, cast away like sheep without a shepherd. Jesus not only saw with his eyes, but he saw well with his heart. And that's what Dr. King was after. To teach humanity to see well. And so this is a good weekend. This question, so valuable. When we see another human being who's made in the image of God, what do we see? And I believe that we're thoughtful enough, we're patient enough, if we're humble enough to truly wrestle with that question, that we all will begin to discover what love requires.